Who would have thought at the start of the year we'd be working from home, we'd be enacting our contingency plans, that we'd be accelerating key services into the cloud. But here we are. Evan, I know you spoke about your experiences producing the radar on a recent podcast, but overall, what do you think has been the most surprising outcome of this forced disruption?
We can start by talking about how different customers have been able to respond to the crisis and this need to suddenly transition to staff working from home, working remotely. It's definitely put a lot of pressure on those organisations to be able to make systems and software delivery tooling and environments available remotely. And it's been very clear that some organisations have been able to do that quite quickly because maybe they've invested previously in the right kinds of security models and access models, while others have had to scurry and kind of really suddenly be able to put in extra capacity.
So I think it's great that we've been able to move a lot of our collaboration and our web communication tools to Zoom and Google Docs, but I'm sort of interested about the fact that we've been advising a lot of our clients and helping them work on their cloud adoption for the last couple of years, helping move their product to be software as a service. And do you think that has actually paid off right now?
Well, what we've seen with clients is that as they've moved to adopt cloud services, migrate applications, adopt new services, they've used different strategies to do that. And one of the things that we've been advising heavily on is the trap of what we call cloud lift and shift. So just taking existing applications, existing tools that are used, and migrating them into a cloud hosting infrastructure without rethinking any of the way that they work, whether it be elasticity or resilience. Particularly relevant to this area is how they deal with security models. Definitely organizations that have migrated to new services and have taken a more cloud-native architectural approach most commonly means that those services are available outside of the data center perimeter, outside of the network perimeter, with relatively low friction. And that's been a real accelerator for teams who are trying to get on board.
That's through things like zero trust architectures.
Yeah, and previously we've talked about the perimeterless enterprise. That's a hard thing to say, and talked about the Beyond Court model, popularized by Google, which talks about those kind of security models that allow for low friction access based on risk. Another area that's been really interesting is how it's affected the way we work with customers to deliver software. ThoughtWorks has traditionally pioneered a lot of agile software development techniques, as we used to call them, and they rely heavily on co-located teams, cross-functional teams, and high bandwidth communication, whether it be workshop techniques that help us get understanding of the problem we're trying to solve through collaborative techniques, then face-to-face, or software engineering practices like pair programming. And pair programming is a core practice for us at ThoughtWorks. It allows us to build high-quality software. It allows us to build resiliency in our teams, but it is challenged when we move to a fully remote way of working. What we've observed is that most of our teams and most of our customers are working in the same time zone. And with the access we have now to quite good collaboration tools, screen sharing and video conferencing, that most teams have moved to what we call remote synchronous way of working, as opposed to a remote asynchronous way of working where everybody works solo from tickets and chat systems. But the remote synchronous nature of work is actually quite taxing on people. It's quite tiring working through relatively low bandwidth communication all day. So we've had to adapt some of our practices and allow for more of that asynchronous workflows, but but still retaining things like pair programming, so that you get continuous review of the work that you're doing.
The speed in which the relative speed in which companies have been able to shift to working from home has been really surprising for me. I think that's the biggest one for me. Thinking about 10 years ago when you first started the Tech Radar, who'd have thought that we'd be here working from home and doing it quite productively.
For a global organization that's used to, that does a lot of work remotely, it's been really interesting to see the impact on ThoughtWorks and the impact on our customers and how we work together. I'm really hoping that we'll take some of the lessons from what is a horrible situation, and it'll actually make us a better organization, and that as an industry, it'll allow for more diversity, and it will allow for people to work more location independent without giving up all of the good things that we've worked for so many years.
Well, this issue is definitely unique in how it came together. And we recommend that you check out some of the blips that we mentioned, like zero trust architecture, holding on that cloud lift and shift, and the priority list enterprise. And if you have any feedback about what you found most surprising about this forced disruption, let us know. Hit us up on the social media, and we'd love to hear from you.